All right, folks, so we're going to take a look at fixing this problem that I had last time with the siding that I couldn't go up more. I figured it out, so I'll show you how to deal with this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go down, scroll through all your stuff that you've got in your main assembly, and oops, scroll all the way down to the bottom. It should be the last thing that you have before the mates is that thing. If you hover over it, it will highlight. We're going to right click on that and say I want to edit in context, and then go over to context 1. And that's going to do the usual thing where it grays everything else out and it brings up what we did with this the last time. Now, here's what I realized that I should have done is I shouldn't have chosen through all on this extrude. So go to this extrude, should be extrude 2, where we made that little notch. Double click on that to edit it. And I think we said last time we said through all. So instead of saying through all, we're going to change that to, see, I already did it here. We're going to change it to blind. And we're going to go a depth of just make it like 600 inches. It should work to go out beyond that point right there. I don't know what I clicked on there. And we're going to click OK. Okay. And it should, I don't know what I did. Try that again. I don't know what happened with, mine. Undo is always your friend, right? So, so let me try that again. And I'm going to again change this to blind and to a depth of 600 inches. If you haven't already done that, say OK. Okay, now we can go to this linear pattern. And you should be able to, now that it's cutting through whatever I want, I should be able to just keep going and roll that thing until it's all the way to the top. Looks like 53 for me. It might be different for you, but we're looking good. All right, and we've got our horizontal siding on our house. Cool. All right. One thing I would like to do is attics get hot and we need venting in the attics because otherwise it would build up a crazy amount of heat. So that's why attics have venting on the ends and also sometimes venting along the roof. Sometimes there is this stuff called ridge venting, which will be along the top that's underneath the top cap, and it allows venting to go up through the very top. But we need to go ahead and I'm going to hit N for normal to go square onto this. I'm going to come and zoom in. Now we still have our origin point. So let's do this. Let's draw. I need to make a sketch. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to make a sketch on this front surface here, just any one of these flat surfaces, the big surface. Make sure you're not clicking inside of the little ones. That'd be fine. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. Let's try a 12 by 16 rectangle. Now, I'm going to draw this way up here. Just trust me that I know what I'm doing here. 12 by 16 might be a little small. Let's see what that looks like. Let's do a 18 by 24. I think that'll work. So we're going to make it an 18 wide. So click on there and make this first number 18. Enter, and the second number 24. All right. Now, from this origin point right here, we're going to make a line but you're going to make it a construction line. So somewhere it might be in a drop-down menu is this thing right here that will make it a construction line, because we don't want that to be part of the thing. We're going to hook it up to this origin point and come straight down. Make sure that little thing showing that we're vertical, and we'll come down. Let's come down 12 inches so we're not in the way of, structural members and such. We might be anyway, but I'm not going to tell anybody. Might be. Planning would have had to have happened that I didn't make. All right, we're going to now use a coincident constraint. Again, this may be in an, I take it back. We got to put a point on the midpoint. So before doing that, come up here to point, and somewhere hover around. See that little square that pops up? We're going to put a point there. We did that before with some other exercises. And now we're going to make a coincident constraint, might be in a drop down, between that point right there and this point right here. Make sure you're only getting points. Cool. Finish that sketch. And now we are going to extrude this. Oh, wow. You know what I can do? I just click on sketch 3. We're going to extrude sketch 3. And we are going to remove, and we're going to remove 3/4 of an inch, because that's how thick that plywood would. And it's probably going to expose some things underneath, and it does. Okay, but we are now looking through that, and we now have a vent up there at the top of the attic that's going to let heat escape. All right. So we're looking good for that side. Now let's go ahead and do the other side. Now we're going to do the same thing. I believe we started 2 inches below. I need to go back and remember how far below we started that. So I'm going to look at sketch 1 and see if we have a dimension. We went 1 inch below. I'm glad I looked at that because I didn't remember. Okay, so we're going to flip around to the back side. Now this is going to again be a little bit tricky. Let's finish and go to assembly before we do that. Flip around to the other side. Now we're going to have to get another marker up there. Now I need to have all of these things. This is going to be a little trickier than the other one. I'm going to have to zoom in and out because we've got roof coming up to here. We've got all sorts of things. So this one's going to be kind of a crazy cutout, but we'll figure this out. All right, so first of all, we need another one of these little mate connectors. So I'm going to scroll down. I want to keep track of things. I've got one called roof. That's on the other side. I'm going to rename that. Will you do this with me, please? Let's rename that roof left peak. Call it roof left peak. There we go. I'm going to make another one that I'm going to call roof right peak. We're going to do it opposite on the other side. So we need to come in here and zoom way in because it needs to be on this surface and not out here on this surface. Okay, so it's important that we put it there. So zoom it way in. We're going to make this mate connector and we're going to put it right there, making sure it's facing outward. Good. Okay. And we can say okay. I wonder if I can name it here. Huh. I don't think there's any way of naming it there. Oh, can we? We'll edit. Oh, there we go. We can do that. And let's call it roof peak right, because it's on the right side of the house when we're looking at the front. Cool. I just learned that we could do that. So down at the bottom, I should have, look, roof peak. I can turn off the left one, by the way, because I don't need that one anymore. Now we've got the right one. And we are going to, again, make a part in context. Before I do that, though, I'm going to cancel out of that. I need to make sure I know what those triangles look like from before. So I'm going to go back to that part again that I made. There we go. It's that one. And make sure I know what sketch 2 looks like. And that we went 1 1/4 of an inch and 5 inches up. I think I could have remembered that, but that's okay. We're back to our house. All right. So I'm going to start a new part studio. Where is that little guy? There it is. And we're going to select this make connector and say OK. And again, it fades things out. This one is going to be tricky. We're going to zoom in and out. We're going to make sure that we've got the right spots. Okay, we're going to make sure that we are doing this the right way. So here we go. I want to make sure, did I do that? Those little guys out there all the way out. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to start, I think, up at that top peak. So I'm going to sketch on this top plane. So we're going to sketch on the top plane. Okay. N for normal to get us square to it. And we're going to start drawing our outline. It's going to make that big old panel. So we're coming down here, zoom out, zoom in. I need to be, oh, I forgot, folks. You're yelling at me on the other side of this video saying, no, you have to put in your points first. All right, let's put in our points first that we got to hook to. That's fine. So, whoops, I still want to sketch though. Still need to sketch on the top plane. Good. Whoops, I didn't mean to exit out of it. I needed to stay in it. And let's start putting in points. I need a point here. I need a point down here. That is, I'm going to have to use some geometry. I'm going to have to use this line right here. Now I'm going to have to use that line right there. Don't start doing too many of them or it becomes crazy. Now we're going to make another point, hover over that end of that line, and we're going to come over here to where it connects and is, see how those two little things show up? We need those. Put a point there. All right, now we're going to need to put another point up here so I'm going to have to, again, use and project this edge right here. You see where I'm going? I've projected that one, which is going to be a problem because it's going to create two different profiles, but that's okay. And this, again, is where things are going to get a little tricky. So I'm going to make another point. This is going to get really, really tricky. I'm going to use the top of the roof. Be careful that we're getting the right thing. I want that top edge of the roof. Okay? Because we have to go all the way around all of this stuff. We're going to use this edge, this edge, this edge, that edge. Okay, and then, whoops, why didn't that work out? Oh, I must not have clicked use. Sorry, folks. Click. There we go. I may just use points because that's a little easier for me to draw around. In fact, I'm going to do that and just draw lines, and that way I'm not projecting all these big ol'. There's a point here that I'm going to need. Now, this is kind of cool. If we're zooming way in, there, from way over on the other side is this point that's an inch down below that surface. So let's go ahead and use that. You have to zoom way in and out. We're going to use that point. Let me think of what else I need. Okay, I'm going to just slow down for now. See how we're doing. All right, that's good enough. Now we're going to start completing our profile. So let's go to our line. Make sure it's not on construction anymore. So I need to close this right here. And I need to go from this line straight up to there to close that in. Now we already closed all this in except for over here. Sometimes you have to hit escape to get out of it. So think of it like when you make all these lines to make a profile, I'm making a corral for all the microscopic cows to stay in, right? And I have to make sure that there's no breaks in the fence. We're going to go up to here, up to there. Now this next one's going to be a little tricky. So I'm going to come down. But I'm going to line up with that little point that we made before and hover over so that it's straight down and lined up, just like that. Click. Now we're going to come to this point, and now we're going to come up. Now it should make a gray surface if I did it right. Nope, I'm still open somewhere. Oh, nope, it's doing it. Cool. Now it is showing this as part of that line. I wonder if I can cut part of this out. So I'm going to use the scissors to cut out that little segment of line right there. Good. So that's what I want. I want the gray area around all of this. Perfect. All right. Now we have to do kind of that same thing because we don't have this part up here. So we're going to start doing some same things on the left side. I'm going to use some geometry. I need this top line right here. Okay. I need, this looks like this line is already there. I'm going to need from the other side, remember we're going to hover way in until we see that point. There it is, coming in from the other side. We're going to go there. Now I need to use this line there. We need now this line. This line. Now I'm going to make some points. Or I'm going to use just some points rather than lines because I don't want to overdo it. That one. That one. I'm not going to do that. Here at the end of this edge. And I think that's looking good so far. We can make some lines. We can come back and look at it again. So you guys kind of have to look at this too and know what we're looking at. It's this flat part over here. Oh, I forgot we got to cut out the window too. Let's not forget that. So I'm going to start making some lines. There to there. There to up there. Now this one is going to come from here and it's going to hook up to that line. See how it's lined up with both of those? That's good. Click. Okay. Now we're going to come over to where I'm going to hover over that point and come straight up. Click. Now I'm going to come straight down. All right. Now we're going to come straight down to that other point that we made earlier that was an inch below this wooden surface. Click. Cool. Now we should be able to go horizontal from that point over to that wall. Click. Good. Turned all gray. If it didn't, you have to go back and look at where you have problems, and it should have this whole area. Now, when I take the pair of scissors and I cut out this little segment right here, it should go around that. Perfect. All right, so now we've got both sides done, and now we're ready for the this area up in here. So I already did part of it. We've got this line over here. I can now draw lines from that peak. Make sure it's on the top. Got to be careful with this stuff. Down to that point. Oh, it made it. I don't want that, so I can use my scissors again. If you had this happen, just get rid of this segment. And it should get rid of it. And actually, I can get rid of that segment, and it should do the same thing. So we'll do that in a minute. Line. We should, I think I just got one more, which is to go from here horizontally straight out. Make sure those two things both show up. Click. Yeah. So now that whole thing is showing. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this line and this line and this segment, so I can go and do the whole thing all at once. So we're going to use the scissors and cut out that line right there. And I don't know why it's showing up twice. And this line right here. All right, so it's this one big long segment. Cool. All right. Now you can finish the sketch and extrude that whole thing. That was pretty tricky, folks, so I hope it worked out for you. You're going to have to go pretty slow and repeat things, and we're going to go to 0.75. And that looks pretty good. All right, now I know that looks really weird right now, but it won't once we've gotten things done here. All right, so we're going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going to try and remember what my appearance was on the last one. I think I was, no, it was not that. Maybe I was at the top green. Let's see if that kind of, I'll see if that looks like it, and I'll come back and change that again if I need to. All right, so we're going to do the same thing we did before, where we are going to put a plane offset from this. So here we go. Let's go plane. We're going to offset from this surface. Make sure you're choosing the whole surface. Click. And you have to zoom out. We're going to pull that plane out so that it's beyond that point. It's got to be out beyond it. So, 72 inches will work. 6 feet. Good. Now we're going to sketch on that plane. We're going to sketch on that plane. N for normal. And we're going to zoom in. We probably have to use some lines, so we're going to use this line right here. And then we're going to draw our line that we had before, that little right triangle that is, so we're going to click on there, come out, click, and put in 0.25. Then the other line, don't worry about how long it is, it's a hypotenuse. So we're going to click somewhere along that line, about like that. Click. Okay. And then finally, we need to dimension this distance from this point to that point is 1. My computer's being a little slow. And this point, we're going to dimension. Whoops, I turned it off instead of on. Let's turn it on. From that lower point to the bottom of that plywood as 5. Same thing we did last time. Finish your sketch. Okay. Now, let's not make the mistake we made last time. We're going to now extrude that. We're going to extrude this sketch of that little triangle, that sketch. We're going to remove, and we're going to go a total depth of 600 inches to make sure that it goes to the other side. Now, my merge scope, if this shows up, is going to be with part 1. And it should work out. All right, looking good so far. Check. And the last thing is we're going to make that linear pattern. Linear pattern. And it says, what do you want? We want not a part pattern, we want a feature pattern of the extrude that we just made. Okay. The direction that we want to go, whoops, it didn't. Okay, the direction I want to go is upward in a, like so. And we're going to go every 5 inches. And we're just going to do an instance count until it works. My computer is being a little slow. Now, right now, I think I need to flip the direction. Yeah. If it turns red on you, you probably have to flip the direction. And again, we're going to go as many as it takes. I think it was 30 something last time. My computer's taking, oh boy. I'm going to hit apply per instance and see if that fixes my issue. Yeah, hit apply per instance, and that way it won't have a problem when you. $47. Okay, I'm a little worried that this looks slightly different than the last one. Maybe we had 47 on the last one. I'm not sure. But overall, we are looking good. Now, the last thing that we are going to do is we're going to put that same venting on this side. So let's go ahead and say that looks good. Now let's sketch on one of these flat surfaces. N for normal, same thing as we did last time. We're going to make an 18 by 24 rectangle, 18 wide, 24 long, and we're going to put a point in the middle of the top. We're going to then draw a line, but make it a construction line. Comes down from the origin point 12 inches straight. I believe we came down 12 inches before. We can come back and fix it if we need to. And finally, make a coincident constraint between this point and that point. Cool. Finish your sketch. We're going to extrude that sketch, sketch 3, and we're going to remove 0.75. And we're good. Let's insert and go to assembly. It'll ask us what we want to insert. We want to insert part 1 and say good. We should be able to, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe it was going there. We want to insert part 1. Okay, I don't know what happened before. All right, so now we've got, so go ahead and get it where we can see the siding that's on the on this side of the house, And next time we'll work on the front and the garage. All right, starting to take shape, starting to look kind of cool, folks. Good job. See you next time.